You cursed brat! Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting! Oh, what a world! What a world! Who would have thought a good little girl like you could destroy my beautiful wickedness? Ah, look out! Look out! I'm going! Ah! Ah!
What's up, guys? It's Benny. The most hated White House correspondent from the right is definitely Caitlin Collins of CNN, taking up the mantle of fired Jim Acosta because she's insufferable and rude. The most hated White House correspondent from the left is Natalie Winters of War Room, and she is constantly attacked for what exactly? Not because of her questions or because of her journalism, but because of her skimpy outfits. Look at this caption from the Daily Mail. They say dress for the job that you want. Apparently, freshly minted White House correspondent Natalie Winters wants to be a hostess at Hooters. This is what they're saying. Got it? This is a constant attack by Natalie Winters by the Daily Mail. CNN reporter stuns MAGA White House correspondent famed for skimpy outfits. I was not stunned. Destroyed him with my answer. Not famed for skimpy outfits. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the clip in question. Let me know what you think.
People, and I'm sure you see this online every single day, who say you don't deserve to be here because you're not a real journalist. What's your response to them?
Well, I'm pretty sure the group of people in there spent, 4 years covering for someone who was essentially dead, and that's being charitable in my description of him, a president by the name of Joe Biden. So to all those people who are apoplectic over having new media voices, you guys failed, and that's why we're here.
The chair of the White House Correspondents Association, a group.
So, essentially dead. That's right. Correct on all counts. Natalie Winters went on to do the rest of the interview, which was very interesting. We saw it and thought there were some fun takeaways. CNN's little doughy reporter there goes and talks to right-wing media inside of the White House. Of course, they would never frame the left as left-wing media. This guy's a very dishonest reporter. But he went and covered the reporter for Lindell TV and then for War Room. And he went around the White House, and there are some very interesting takeaways. Okay, let's begin.
This is my first time in here.
Well, you're only probably with the most controversial White House correspondents.
And I'm actually really good at yelling because I used to be a ring announcer.
We're all biased, right? We just wear our bias, which I think is a pejorative term to begin with, on our sleeves.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'm pro-Trump. The questions I ask, in my opinion, are going to help highlight the good things that he's doing for America.
These are White House correspondents like you've never seen before. They're part of the Trump administration's push to bring so-called new media into the White House.
We have an individual in our new media seat today.
Cara Castronova is White House correspondent for Lindell TV.
Go to mypillow.com.
Yes, that Lindell.
Boys will be boys, and
The new media outlets have full access to the White House briefing room, where they ask questions like this.
Will you guys also consider releasing the president's fitness plan? He actually looks healthier than ever before. Is he working out with Bobby Kennedy? And is he eating less McDonald's?
I can confirm the president is in very good shape.
Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office.
And the characterization that what you were doing, asking Zelensky that question, that you were trolling.
I'm not a troll. I never have been. That was a legitimate question I just wanted to ask. I didn't mean to, get everyone fired up like they did.
Then he moved on to reporting on Natalie Winters.
Right now, the briefing room, the seats are, big networks up front. You're hoping that that will be rearranged, that outlets like yourself might have a more prominent seat here?
Definitely. If it were up to me, I'd kick a lot of these outlets out. I view my role here more as sort of reporting on not so much the White House, but really the media.
Natalie Winters is White House correspondent for Steve Bannon's show, War Room.
Our bias is not to be sycophants for President Trump. Our bias is for our audience, which is the working class of America, the people who want to put this country first.
If Trump messes up, will you guys call it out?
Yeah, and we have. I think time and time again, particularly on the vertical and issue of immigration, we are not for stapling green cards to diplomas.
We met the new media correspondents on the day Trump announced tariffs that could upend the world economic order. As other news outlets reported on the tanking stock market, on Bannon TV, they celebrated.
This is the first day where a sitting president put America's working class first, and it's a glorious day to be standing here at the White House and to be able to say that and bring that to you.
Have the quote-unquote traditional reporters that are here been hostile to you at all?
Well, I think they know better than to come after Natalie Winters and the War Room posse, but it's the looks, the eye rolls, the conversations that I overhear.
And then here we have the report from Pebble Beach for Lindell TV correspondent.
They're adjusting to life as part of the White House press corps. These big tents here is where you have CNN, ABC,
Right.
the networks, and you guys are kind of
So we're
off to the
kind
side
of
here.
off to the side, which is what a lot of alternate media is doing right now.
From the protocols
There were times at the beginning when we're standing kind of here, not realizing we're in people's shots.
to the snack selection.
And this is off topic. The vending machine is full of junk food, and I'm a big Maha person. I almost ate a beef Slim Jim yesterday. I was desperate.
And finally, the new media and new attitude.
Do you consider yourself a journalist?
Yes.
Tell me.
Seems like you took a little
No,
pause to process
No,
that.
but, I mean,
But I think we all should have a seat at the table. I really do. And if you look, the very first week she did the new media, it was Axios. And Axios, by no stretch of imagination, is a conservative new media.
But while not all new media here are MAGA media, a lot of them are more cheerleading President Trump than challenging him. You are a Trump fan, right?
Yes, I'm definitely a supporter of President Trump.
So will you be able to hold them to account then? and
I
call
would.
them out?
I will be able to hold 100% him to account. I'm sure things that will happen that I disagree with, and I have said plenty of times, on the record when I've disagreed with his
Is there
decisions.
anything so far in this administration you've disagreed with?
I'm not gonna. Let me put some thought into that for a second. I'm just overwhelmed, overwhelmed with how well I perceive things to be going.
But to the people, and I'm sure you see this online every single day, who say you don't deserve to be here because you're not a real journalist, what's your response to them?
Well, I'm pretty sure the group of people in there spent, 4 years covering for someone who was essentially dead, and that's being charitable in my description of him, a president by the name of Joe Biden. So to all those people who are apoplectic over having new media voices, you guys failed. And that's why we're here.
The chair of the White House Correspondents Association, a group that has represented White House reporters for more than a century, recently wrote, "For the public to get information it needs to understand and make decisions about the most powerful office in the world, it needs news produced by experienced professional journalists who ask tough questions and produce fair coverage."
I, for one, think this entire season is incredibly entertaining. I don't know what is wrong with having Natalie Winters at the White House, and I don't know why the left is so unbelievably obsessed with her. She's got a lot of press. I think it's hysterical. And also, she knows how to handle herself. Here she is on Piers Morgan, talking to the man who wrote the Steele dossier, the PP dossier that Hillary Clinton paid for. Yeah, if you want to know what Natalie Winters is capable of, here you go.
Well, I know Christopher Steele probably wanted to go down in history as someone that colluded with the Clinton campaign to take down President Donald J. Trump, but I really think that you represent probably the ultimate grifter in the American political space. For you to even come on here, obviously you're trying to sabotage what President Trump is doing when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, but to sit here, nearly a decade after you tried to smear President Trump as a Russian asset, to then say, well, I think he's a Russian asset, but even though I'm really good at my job and create all these intelligence reports, it's just sort of a feeling that I have. I'm sorry, what stones do you even have left to turn over to try to corroborate your claim that President Trump is a Russian asset? You weaponized FISA courts, surveillance, warrants, not just domestic spy agencies, international spy agencies too, the entire DNC apparatus, a bunch of political operatives and registered foreign agents here in the United States. The American people would really appreciate it if you would stop injecting your efforts to curtail and totally tank the America First movement by smearing anyone who doesn't want to get involved in forever wars or continue the needless and ceaseless dying of in Ukraine and in Russia, just so you can sit there from your nice perch and just continue to defend the globalist world order by continuing to fan the flames of conflict in Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine. And you know what? The same people that you ally yourself with here in the United States, you think you're so good at gathering intelligence. Last time I checked, it was the 51 intel agency officers, spies, who said that the Hunter Biden hard drive, which I've reported on firsthand, it's legitimate. You want to talk about president's sons who are involved in businesses with foreign countries? Well, I'd like to introduce you to Hunter Biden, right? When those 51 people that I'm sure that you know all too well, you were probably likely involved with the drafting of that letter, said that that was Russian disinformation. Well, it turned out that that was true, and shame on you for the last decade trying to inject the idea that smearing President Trump as a Russian agent or a Russian asset is somehow going to tank the MAGA movement. It's about putting America first, and the fact that you can still sit here and you have no actual evidence beside one random Russian meeting and, oh, we need to just continue to get more evidence. You're a complete political hack and grifter, and I wish the American political scene didn't have your voice in it.
All right, well, Christopher Steele, you're about to leave us because you're only here for this part of the panel, but your response finally to that?
My response is that I'm a professional intelligence officer and an expert on that part of the world. I'm not a politician.
Was the Hunter Biden hard drive Russian disinformation then, if you're such an expert?
Let him finish. Let him finish. So I've been a loyal and close ally of the United States for probably most of the last 40 years. I've worked extremely closely with officials working for administrations, both Republican and Democrat. I have a very strong US client base for which I've worked and produced information over many years, none of whom have ever made any such allegation against me. And it's palpable nonsense to claim that I'm in hoc with politicians.
I'm so glad the Clinton campaign didn't say that about you.
Well, I never worked for the Clinton campaign. I never had any contact with the Clinton campaign. That's the reality of it.
You're a subcontractor.
I think Fusion GPS would beg to differ.
I produced a report for a partner firm in Washington, and the results of that report made me as an ally of the United States, as I would have expected an American counterpart to do, to report back in what I found to the contacts I had in the FBI at the time.
Okay.
That was the right do, and I'm proud that I did.
All right,
we're going to leave it there. Look, I think everyone's had their say about
I love
Christopher
his
Steele.
expert opinion.
Let's leave it there. I want to move on to other subjects. Christopher Steele, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I'm going to let you go. Anthony Scaramouche.